Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Why is the middle class shrinking? Why are people facing an affordability crisis while marginalized individuals called informals grow in numbers? Join me as I travel the world, speaking with people living in invisibility, the leaders working to solve it, and uncovering the hard truths shaping our economy and daily reality.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Excuse me! Taxi! Come on, what are you doing?
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Friday, Good Friday. Calling in right now is Congressman Kevin Hearn from the great state of Oklahoma, and he has gotten President Trump's endorsement to run for the United States Senate in Oklahoma to replace the new Homeland Security Secretary, former Senator Mark Wayne Mullins of Oklahoma. Now he's Secretary of Homeland Security. Well, Kevin Hearn, maybe I'll be calling you Senator someday.
Well, we certainly hope so. We're certainly running hard. I first want to give a big shout out to my good friend of almost 20 years, Senator Mullin, now the Secretary Mullin, for his confirmation to be the next DHS Secretary. And as you know, it's a tough job, and he's up to the task of doing that. You know, he served Oklahoma very well in the House and Senate, and he's going to do a great job over there. He understands how important it is to make sure that our good men and women that are, controlling our borders and making sure, the folks at TSA and Coast Guard and others are funded. And so he's working hard with the Senate right now and the House to make sure we get the funding done and get it done correctly so that we can continue on and protecting our nation.
Understood. And what committees while in Congress? How long you been in Congress?
8 years. It'll be 8 years in November. I've been on Ways and Means for 6 years, worked on a lot of tax policy and healthcare policy, both of those committees. And then for 2 years, chaired the Republican Study Committee, a committee that the current speaker and the current leader, Speaker Johnson and Leader Scalise, as well as Jim Jordan, have chaired that committee, that conference, which is the largest caucus in all the Republican conference. It's about 180 members, all conservative policy. Spent a lot of time working from, every end, from the most conservative Republicans to the most moderate Republicans, working on policy that we could push forward, whether it was immigration or, policies around privacy and things of that nature, tax policy, moving that forward. And then for the last almost a year and a half, I've been the Republican Policy Committee Chair, fifth in leadership for the Republican Conference, working on policy with all the policy committee, again, pushing out conservative policies across the country.
Congressman, at 3 o'clock in the morning, what keeps you up?
Well, actually, it's pretty ironic. I get up about 3 o'clock in the morning. Probably the thing that I've responded to the most over my years in Congress is the national debt and the deficits that drive that debt. As the Republican Study Committee chair for 2 years, and then 2 years prior to that was the budget chair for the Republican Study Committee, where that committee, that conference is really about putting out balanced budgets. And so I've signed 4 balanced budgets. It's not getting any easier. Having spent 35 years in business prior to going to Congress, I know how important it is that we balance our budgets and how make sure we live within our means. And it's been very frustrating to see what's happened. Now we're at $2 trillion deficits each year and growing, and the debt surpassed $39 trillion. And I think we've got to do something before it's too late. And this is something that's really affecting their ability for our kids and our grandkids to have as successful careers as we've had in this current day we're living in. And it used to be a time in America where you sacrifice today for the future. Today, there's a mentality of make the people in the future sacrifice for the glory and satisfaction today. And we've got to get our thinking straight.
Absolutely. And where do we stand? Do you think Oklahoma, is it considered a red state?
Very red state, as the president likes to talk about every time that he's on, he's got Oklahoma in front of him or other people in front of him. It's the only state in the nation that he won all 77 counties 3 times in a row. Oklahoma loves him. His favorability, popularity in the state is approaching 90% and hasn't wavered much. If it's dipped at all, it's because Oklahomans want him to do more, not less. Oklahoma understands about the importance of border security. That's national security. They understand the importance of making sure we have a strong national defense, that our military and men and women are equipped and are paid properly. And this President Trump, is one that does this day in and day out. Much to the chagrin of some of my Democrats, or I would pretty much say all the Democrat friends, they'd rather spend money on social programs as opposed to national defense. And so Oklahoma loves the president. My policies that I've worked on in the 8 years in Congress have had no daylight between what the president's worked on, all about America first, because as I tell my Democrat friends, if you're not America first, then what are you, America 10th, 20th? And I think we've seen that as they allowed, 10 million plus people come across in 4 years. So the president's well loved in Oklahoma.
And like I said to the president last time I saw him is, can we ever make America drug-free? Because I know that's important to him. And, I mean, we took care of Venezuela. We're in the middle of taking care of Mexico. I mean, do you have a drug problem in Oklahoma?
I think every nation has a drug problem. The president talked about in his first term about every state's a border state. And we saw how dramatic that was under Joe Biden when he allowed millions of people coming in, fentanyl running rampant. It was the number one killer of young men and women, 18 to 45. Hundreds of thousands of people died under Joe Biden and the Democrats' leadership. The president, as you just indicated, has done everything about destroying drug boats coming from South America. He put Venezuela on notice and went and got Maduro. Many talked about how President Sheinbaum of Mexico would be an antagonist to President Trump, and it just turned out she's working with the president and his administration to make sure that the drug lords, the narco terrorists, have been identified so that we can go get them. And that's what we have to have. Where we sit right here in Oklahoma, we're sitting in the middle of America. So people come up I-35 with drugs and then go I-40 or I-44 across America. I've got a close working relationship with the state police, the attorney general's office, and others. And we're doing a great job of capturing what does leak through. But it's pretty amazing. In the last 8 months, we're now where there's no illegal crossings coming through, when just prior to that, we're having anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000 per day. So this president's about national security. It's about making sure men and women don't die from Mexican drugs that are coming across the southern border. Well, Congressman Kevin Hearn, have a happy Easter on Sunday and happy Good Friday tonight. And, well, I don't know. Good Friday is never it's not supposed to be happy, but you know what I mean? And enjoy it with the family. I do. Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Sacco and Felix, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFilas.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.